Yeah, I mean, I guess we can, we'll get started officially on the spaces. If anybody's been watching the markets right now, which I'm sure many of you have, you'll notice, most DeFi protocols are down. Most farming as a service protocols are down. Crypto is down. ETH is nuking today, and ACYC is holding strong as ever. Um, and this sort of goes back to the idea that we've talked about, where slow and steady wins the race. We're not making parabolic movements upwards or downwards. The goal of ACYC is to build a strong and resilient base and to have steady, consistent growth over time. And so, your bag's not going to pump 5x over the weekend. We don't want that. That's how you get some of these protocols that have they shine bright and then they fizzle out very, very quickly. I've always said, the candle that burns twice as bright burns twice as fast. ACYC is not about that. We're here to make gains. We're here to grow. We're here to build a strong, resilient base. And that's what we're doing. And you can see that reflected in, the action of ACYC over the past few days, while all of these other protocols and coins and everything in the space is sort of just bleeding out pretty terribly, and we are holding very strong. That's a testament to what we're doing, the growth that we have, and the community and base that we've built. So we're feeling very bullish on ACYC's performance in these markets. I think it kind of speaks for itself there. You want to speak to that some, Nate?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much what you just said. During the ups and the downs, or when you really can, find the. So, when people ask me personally, hey, Nate, because I get asked all the time, hey, Nate, will you be an advisor for our fund? Or, hey, Nate, what are you looking at right now in the market? And I never suggest ACYC. And the reason is, all these people want to know, like, if you ever watch Wolf of Wall Street, the Jordan Belfort, the way he gets all these people to come invest with him originally is he mentions these blue chips that will give secured returns, and then you give them the riskier play. Not saying that ACYC is the riskier play, but everybody wants that thing that's going to move up the next day or the next week. They want you to say, hey, buy this today. It's going to go up 50% in the next couple days. And that's just not what ACYC is. ACYC is that blue chip you want to start with and say, hey, put as much as you want right now. And I'm sure in the next few months, it'll be the same price or a little bit higher. Because right now we're building, what would be and should be a multi-billion-dollar protocol. And with that, it kind of, it almost eliminates the ability to speculate, which is why, like Boggartt said, a lot of these things shine bright and then burn out, is because most of them are complete speculation mixed in with a little bit of fundamentals. And once, the smoke fades and everybody sees what it is, for what it is, it's kind of hard to have conviction. I follow a lot of projects all the time. I kind of like to stay dialed into the space. And some of the people who were complete maxis on certain projects realize that once their Twitter feed stops becoming an information loop, oh, wow, what am I really holding? So, yeah, like you said, Boggartt, we do shine, but it's not like we're, throwing oil into the fire or gas into the fire. We're kind of just like lighting a light that will always be there. We're like a lighthouse. We're always your safe passage home. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to add. And maybe I started that out a little bit wrong, saying that I never suggest ACYC, but every time that somebody asks me, what should I be buying? I never really do suggest ACYC at first, because typically people are in it for the flip. And do I think ACYC is going to 2x this week? Probably not. Do I think ACYC is going to be a $1 billion protocol in the next year? For sure. So kind of eliminating the need for speculators, and that's how you get to become a stable coin at the moment, like we are. The people holding are comfortable holding, and those who are going to come on board have likely had enough time to make the decision whether or not they're going to buy. And I always welcome people to open positions in ACYC and other projects that they believe in for the long term, but do it responsibly. So if you have, say, 10 ETH, Don't throw in any more than 5% of your, portfolio. Don't chuck your 10 ETH and become an emotional investor. Chuck in a small amount, and then every time you hear a positive update, throw in a little bit more. Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing I'll say about ACYC at the moment. In terms of the token, I'm not bullish. I'm not more bullish on any other token than I am on ACYC. And I think probably the only reason that you don't see me chucking money right now is because I can't sell, and I wouldn't sell. Pretty much all the tokens I have, I give away to community members for any things that they do for the project without being asked. So if you ever look at my wallet, you'll see 1 or 2 ETH amounts just being sent out to different wallets. Usually that is just community members who have gone above and beyond without being asked, or being asked and then go even farther above. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to add to that side.
Yeah, sweet. That's really what it's all about. This is going to be a multi-billion-dollar protocol, and we're going to get there. It's just going to take time. And so anyone who's invested in, the ground level of a huge enterprise understands that the growth is both volatile and slow. But if it's worth it, that'll be, consistent and upwards over the long term. So yeah, a lot of people are here in this space to make quick flips, to make 50% gain and get out. And that's just not what we are. And so setting your expectations and investing based off of fundamental values is huge. And our fundamentals are unmatched. Our treasury is growing significantly. And every day that our treasury grows and our market cap stays similar, the stronger our fundamentals are and the stronger bull case there is for ACYC. There's no other protocol on the market that has a ratio of market cap to treasury like we do. So it's very bullish. We're very excited about what we're doing. As a value investor myself, I would be tossing money in here very happily. And that's the thing, I'm much happier with a guaranteed return over 6 months than a risky return over one. And that's what ACYC is. So I personally, as an investor, I held very little investments, in ACYC is absolutely one of them, because it's pretty much assured gains, in my opinion. So we're really bullish on what's happening with ACYC. We're really bullish on the action of the Treasury. The other thing to touch on is, what separates us from DeFi protocols or even other farming as a service protocols. And so, a lot of people come into this space and they say, well, look at what's happening to Ohm or Time, how is ACYC different? Well, we're a completely different branch, of decentralized finance. And where those protocols incentivize people with returns based off of providing, liquidity or staking their tokens, we take advantage of those protocols as well. But we use a huge range of yielding strategies as well as that. So we're not over leveraged in any single way, and we're not promising in unreasonable returns, saying you're going to get 40,000 APY. Like many of these other protocols, we take advantage of those, and we get in and out of farming protocols that might, on a single day, some of the farming that we do, it might be 160,000% APY, which is absolutely unsustainable. But if you get in and out of a protocol like that, you can make huge returns. So the difference with ACYC and those protocols is really, we are an overarching protocol that takes advantage of everything else. And those are more pointed systems, which are much less resilient because of that. The diversity of ACYC is what gives us resiliency, So it's very interesting, the space that we're moving into, where you have these other farming as a service protocols. Many of them are just farming as well, and that's great. Again, though, we want to be resilient in all market conditions. So in a situation like the markets are in today or this past week, if we were over leveraged, if we were only farming, we would be in trouble. But the advantage of ACYC is we're spread out. We know how to invest. We know how to find value in all markets. And that gives us the resiliency to have price action like you've been seeing over the past few days, which is just very consistent while everything else is red. ETH versus ACYC is looking pretty good today. So yeah, uh, everything is going very well on the back end, especially with farming too. Anybody that was following our first farming updates knows that we shorted ETH, and when that position was done, we shorted ETH again, and sure enough, ETH went into the toilet. So you can rest assured we're making the right moves, the right investments to capitalize under all market conditions. Something always important to remember is, every trade where someone loses money, there's someone on the other side of that trade making money. And ACYC is on the other side of that trade making money consistently. So we're doing it so you don't have to. So in light of that as well, we've actually also doubled down on our OHM position, which is a DeFi protocol. We've reopened that. Nate, maybe you want to speak to OHM some.
Yeah, so like Boggartt was saying too, I'm not flooding Ohm because as he just said, we doubled down on our position. But like the difference between us and other farming as a service or DeFi protocols is with Ohm, you are rewarded with Ohm. So, your reward for staking Ohm tokens is more Ohm. Say the APY annual percentage yield is like 4,000%, something like that. Well, Ohm is down about 93% from its top of 3 months ago. So Ohm topped out at about 1,400, or I believe it was about 1,300 a token, and now it's $100 a token, which is about a 93 or 94% correction. So if you were staking at the top for 4,000% APY, uh, if you held the tokens until now, that APY would be closer to about 33% or 32% APY, and you'd still have to be holding. And the issue with that between us is with Ohm, you're rewarded with tokens that are minted. So it's pretty much like an infinite supply at this point until all of the tokens are minted out. Um, but, as Boggartt said, we did just double down. Personally, I, as an investor or a speculator, have two golden rules when it comes to whether or not I'm going to buy something on a dip. One is it down 50% on the day? If it is, I'm going to buy. The other is it down 90% in the short to medium term? If it is, I'm going to buy. So Ohm is down, like I said, about 93% in the short term, the last 3 months. To me, that's a buy. And the reason I say it's a buy is you have the people who bought at $1,300 a token, which, like I said, right now it's about 100. And what happens right now is the people who held from this point, from 100 all the way up to 1,300, are now taking profits. And when I say taking profits, I mean, realizing any gains they have left, because they're at a point of max despair. They're at a point where they're super upset that they didn't sell the top. It happens to everybody. And that's not just a general assumption. One of the top, I believe, 5 Ohm holders just liquidated his entire position the other day, nuking the price from $160 to 90. I think he liquidated about 50 mil worth of tokens, which is a shit ton. But, if he had liquidated at the top, that's closer to about 600 mil. So even though he's walking away with 50 mil and he only put in 500K, he is in a mental place of mass despair. And so he liquidated and dropped the price from 160 to 100, which caused a lot of other people to sell too. But you have to remember there are people who bought at the top and they believe in DCA. So if you bought tokens at 1,300, or if you were foolish enough to do that, then you have to be smart enough to buy tokens at $100. And we didn't buy any tokens at 1,300, but we're smart enough to know that other people should be buying now to average down their position size. Because if you bought $1,000 of tokens at 1,300, and now you bought $1,000 at 100, your break-even point is $600 instead of 1,300. So that's just the name of the game. That's why we opened or doubled down on our position, because we are buying the dip. That's what we're here to do. And that's kind of the mindset behind this position. I even posted on my Twitter page for my personal investment too in Ohm. I dropped quite a bit into Ohm at about 105, and I'll be trimming down the size at $100. So if it retests $100 and just it looks like it's absolutely about to fall through, I'll trim down the position size. I'll do the same for ACYC, but otherwise take profits at 130, 140, 160. which is about a 30 to 60% gain over the next couple of days. That's pretty much the thesis behind OHM.
Yeah, sweet. So again, opening an own position, we invest on fundamentals, but we also invest based on market conditions. And that's exactly what we're doing there. So, we're not we're not ourselves saying stake your tokens for 4,000% APY. There is an amount of APY on ACYC, but like Nate said, that there are no more ACYC tokens being minted. So, in a protocol where you're getting tokens returned to you, but the supply is growing, it's very easy for you to just actually lose money over time. Because you might have 1,000 more tokens by the end of the year, but the supply is diluted, so they're all worth significantly less. So that's, the advantage of ACYC with our fixed supply and zero inflation, zero burn wallet, nothing like that, is that, the reflections you're getting are real. They're real tokens updating in your balance. So next to that, the other branches of our investments, we love to focus on NFTs, and our NFTs have been doing excellently. We just sold some of our sheep and some of our boss beauties, 6x, 8x gains on those purchases. And again, that goes back to us being able to look at a market and find the value in that, and execute trades and execute sales for the betterment of the treasury and eventually the betterment of the holders, as we then take those profits and leverage them into farming. So we're really bullish on, the performance of our NFT portfolio. It's unmatched. You can't replicate our traders. We've also actually opened up a second branch of our NFT portfolio, and those links will be updated soon too. Just to have more operators running, more expert traders making these NFT moves. And again, that all goes back to just growing the treasury and pushing that into consistent yield farming, so that we can then bring those gains back leveraged for our holders. So yeah, I mean, we bought sheeps at a quarter of an ETH and sold them for 1.5 ETH each. And again, that's value finding. That's looking at the market and saying this is an undervalued asset. Executing those trades, buying the blood, is something we love to do. It's nice to see somebody buys something for 7 ETH and then they're selling it for 1.5. Under the right conditions, that's a great buy. If there were buyers there before, there will be buyers there again, in the right project at least. So yeah, ACYC's NFT holdings are performing really, really well. It's a super strong portfolio. We love to see it. And again, that's just an unmatched form of resiliency in our protocol compared to anything else that's focusing pigeonholing themselves into one yielding strategy. So yeah, as Nate touched on at the beginning of this, we sold an unrevealed rare, which happens. It happens in all cases. But again, as I mentioned at the top of this, we're not here to gamble. And holding on to an NFT post reveal is gambling. We're not here to do that. We're here to say, look, we're going to make a 50, 60, 80% return on this, and we don't look back. So we're happy with the gains that we made. It could have very easily gone any other way. It just happens like that sometimes, and that's not a bad thing. That's just how NFTs are. You have to trade smart. You can't be looking for the 1 in 10,000 chance when you're trading NFTs. So, that's where the NFTs are at. I don't know, Nate, you want to speak to the NFT market some?
So yeah, we've been asked as well, will we be, giving like briefs or like detailed explanations of why we're buying what we're buying in terms of NFTs and crypto. I like that. I like that idea a lot. But at the moment, we're not planning on Medium articles explaining our NFT purchases and stuff of that nature. Typically because I would say about 75% of our NFT purchases are buying the blood at this moment. Some of like the alpha insight, I could share. That isn't just us buying the blood. Like Wolfgang buying the sheep at 0.25 was literally buying the blood. That's all it was. Like Boggartt said, they topped at 7 ETH. They went down to 0.25 or zero point 0.2 at the bottom. And that is That is quite literally like a 96 or 97% drop from the high, which is unheard of. And I believed that Beanie and the farmer or shepherd or whatever he goes by weren't going to rug, and we're going to keep trying to build, or at least continuing the operation. So at that moment, we decided to buy some sheep. But at the end of the day, is this blood worth buying? Is this worth carrying on our backs? And it was at that time. But some of the alpha I can give to just in terms of NFT markets are the ripple effect. Rising tide lifts all ships. And I got DM'd about our Boss Beauty buys. We bought Boss Beauties at 0.7 and 0.8. So roughly like $1,800, a little bit more. I think it's $2,200 to $2,400 each. And 0.7, 0.8 at the time was kind of a lot, for a Boss Beauty. It's no World of Women, huh? But like I said, a rising tide lifts all ships. World of Women went from 2 ETH to about 8 ETH at the time. And if you were following OpenSea at all, you would see that so many of the female avatars were pumping. And that's just because everybody's wondering what's the next World of Women? And why did we pick Boss Beauties? Pretty much the only one that 2x'd after we bought it. That's because, previous market knowledge. In the past, when World of Women would pump, Boss Beauties and Crypto Chicks were the two that would pump. But during the bear market, Crypto Chicks were about 0.05. So about, $175 each, while Boss Beauties pumped all the way to 1,200. And the reason that Boss Beauties pumped to 1,200 was they were making connections with legitimate firms and legitimate groups and trying to build out the Boss Beauties brand. So that knowledge, paired with the rising tides lift all ships, is the reason that we were comfortable buying Boss Beauties at such a high point. And like Boggartt said, we liquidated that position over the last 12 hours or 24 hours. And we sold each of them for about a $3,000 gain, maybe a little bit less, maybe about $2,700 over the course of about a week. And, for those who aren't aware, I had COVID for about 10 days. And then as my COVID was ending, my girlfriend and child got COVID. So really haven't been as in tune to the NFT market as we'd like. But in doing so, we've been playing a little bit more of a conservative NFT game. Some NFT traders will, trade tokens every single day, and they'll trade handfuls and handfuls. What we've been doing on the ACYC holdings account is just buying what we believe is undervalued and we can hold for quite a bit of time to just make a return. Not everything we buy goes 2x, but for the most part, it's looking like that is the case. Every purchase has a time frame. Every purchase has its exit point. Every purchase has a reason. Whether or not that's buying the blood or buying the rising tides or even trying to time the market. Sometimes I like to try to time the market. With NFTs, if you've been through these mini bears and these like quick bulls, you'll notice that, it's easy to decide what to buy during the bear and what to sell during the bull if you've been through it multiple times. So, I have a list of stuff that I have written down, and these are the things that every time there's a bear, they retrace. And every time there's a bull, at some point they pump. Because from my experience, what I've noticed, and if you've been in this NFT market for a while, you've also noticed that, no bull market in this NFT phase ends without every single shit token you've bought in the past pumping at some point. So it's kind of just a game of merry-go-round, jumping from one to the next. And so, some of the purchases we've made and some of the purchases we will make are literally just us not trying to exactly time the market, but trying to, position ourselves to have something that could pump at some point and sell it. And if we have to sell some of those for a loss, that's fine too. We have a massive margin of profit so far on our NFT wallet holdings. And, if we don't sell anything for a loss, that would be, very suspect to me. I've never seen any traders not sell anything for a loss. Or not have any losses at all. It's just the name of the game. So, everything has a reason. If that rising tides comment wasn't common knowledge to most people, or if that type of information is something that you find useful or think you'd want to hear more of, Let us know in the Discord. Send me an at or type in the alpha chat or the general chat and say, hey, that's something I like to hear. Any of those little tidbits would be nice to hear. But I mean, at least from my point of view, I think that's a little bit of common knowledge. I could be wrong though. Same thing with fluffs. I'm sure many of you don't know what fluff world is. It's dancing bunnies with music. The floor went from like 2 ETH all the way up to I believe 7 or 8 at one point. And so we bought dancing bears, and the dancing bears have gone up a bit too. They've retraced back to the point where we bought, but from the research I've done in Fluff World, the dancing bears and fluffs should still go up. So still holding those. Another one of those rising tide buys, which are the safest bets in my opinion, as long as you're not buying the top, which that just takes time in the market. The more time you spend in the market, the more experience you'll have recognizing clear top signals. Cool. That's all I have for our NFT branch. If you'd like to hear more of those little tidbits, let us know. But as far as detailed reports on the NFT buys, really, I've always tried to steer away from those because I don't want to, we have a lot of eyes. People do track our wallets. People track the ACYC Holdings wallet. And sometimes we do buy more volatile NFTs. And I don't want to, influence someone's purchase if they don't know the game, because there is a couple things in our wallets that have very small losses, like 1 or 2 ETH losses. I think right now we're probably at like a total of, like, if we were to realize the losses, probably at like a total of 4 ETH in losses, which is absolutely nothing compared to the 60 to 70 Ethereum we've made so far. And so if somebody decided that they wanted to all in on the purchases that went down a little bit so far for us, I don't want to be, I don't want to be the influential factor for why they bought that thing. So, I mean, but, these little tidbits of information with no direct name on what we're buying, I do feel more comfortable sharing that type of information.
Sweet, yeah. And so, it just comes with, being in the market, and, making those moves. And there are also, opportunities to make money that multiple people couldn't even capitalize on. Something we love to do is to snipe listings. And that's sort of something where, you're dealing with one asset that's undervalued. So if somebody sees us buy something and then they go to try and buy something from the same collection, I mean, you could get wrecked making the exact same trade. So that's why it comes back to, we do the trading so you don't have to. We see the shifting tides, we make the moves, and then we take those gains and we return them to the holders, so that you don't have to sit there and use your capital and your time to try and make those same moves as us. So next to that, the something we hear about a lot is the aggregated performance report. When is that coming? Well, it is very close, is what I can say. We're just tidying it up, getting it into a nice palatable format, and that will be out very soon for everybody, so you can see very cogently, the results of our investments thus far. We're only 50 days into this protocol, so we're extremely early. But the reporting the auditing is underway and the reporting is coming extremely soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Very excited about it ourselves. The website I've touched on, the treasury balance on there has not been accurate or consistent. And that's because, we enter and exit into positions very consistently, and there's a lot of APIs and data fetching. Data availability on the Ethereum network is just not very good. And so what we've decided to do is we're moving to a weekly audit and update of non-dynamic balances in the treasury. And by that, I mean there are going to be balances that are automatically tracked, but anything that can't be or that isn't efficiently automatically tracked is going to remain stagnant and then be updated manually with an audit on a weekly basis. So if you see the treasury not moving as much day to day, that's exactly why. And that's just to have more consistency in the reporting. We would rather have that be the case than to see, like we do even now sometimes, where suddenly, the treasury looks like it lost $500,000 because we've opened a position that, maybe isn't tracked properly on the back end. And so to avoid that, to maintain consistency, we're going to be doing, weekly audits of the positions and updating that manually. Um, Alongside that, website redesign is underway with a new landing page coming in the next few days. Data availability, being able to have ACYC in an extremely palatable format is absolutely the priority for us. And the redesign of the website is going to reflect that. You should be able to go to the ACYC website or send it to somebody and get all the information you need to in just a few minutes. And so I think you guys are going to love the redesign that's coming, as well as the redesign that's coming to the dashboard. That's going to take a little longer. There's, especially on the back end, there's a lot that goes into that. But the dashboard is the product, and I think you guys are going to be extremely, extremely excited by what we have coming for the redesign of that as well. Um, so in the meantime, there while we're working on this, there will be moments of uh, inconsistency or errors on the site, and that's just part of us updating. You can always add us if you're worried about it, on Discord, but know that we're constantly grinding on it. Better to get it right 100% than to patchwork your way there and have a lot of things to go back to and fix. So that's sort of the status of the website right now. But we're very excited to show you guys what we've been working on with that. You're going to love that. Next to that, we're going to be having a community contributor form that goes out, and we'll be posting this in our Discord for anybody that wants to be involved in ACYC more than just a holder. If you have something that you think you can offer, if you're a great Twitter person and you live on Twitter and think, oh man, I could help with all the tweets, then fill out this form. If you have web development skills, if you have farming skills, whatever it is, if there's a way that you think you can contribute, there will be a form where you can fill out and offer those services. Something that we've always talked about with ACYC is we are prioritizing maximizing, the skills at hand from everybody available in this space. We're very deeply entwined in many communities here, and we understand that, we are great at certain things and other people are great at certain things. And ACYC is about the culmination of all of that. It's utilizing the best of everybody in this space to create something better than any individual can be. And so, leveraging the resources in our community, the great minds and talents that are there, that's absolutely priority. We're always looking for community feedback. We're always looking for community participation. And so the contributor form will just be another avenue for that. So that should be very exciting too for anybody that wants to get involved. Yeah, so overall, that's really what we're working on right now. We also, as we mentioned in the last spaces, we have our new chief marketing officer, uh, and he is up here on stage actually, young Buffett. Maybe he can touch on just a little bit for a moment, the stuff he's been up to.
Yeah, sure. So while you guys are focused on profits and growing the treasury, it's easy to forget that we're also focusing on building and taking the appropriate steps to develop and establish and grow a brand. I mean, ACYC is a brand. So I'm working with our awesome marketing team. We got a lot of talented people in there. We're creating different processes, assets, material to help elevate that brand. And you guys will see it whenever we post tweets. It's very, very important to engage with those, and not just because it boosts my ego or anything, but it's because it really does help with different algorithms. It gets the message out. Engagement is super important. It gets a lot more eyeballs on what we're doing here at ACYC. I see a lot of suggestions and community suggestions inside of Discord, and it's very important to get that feedback, and we can help create and help build these processes to really elevate the brand. So another thing that we're working on is creating educational content to position ourselves as essentially thought leaders in the industry, because it's not always about hype and FOMO and getting people super excited. Oh, let's all ape into ACYC. Sometimes you just have to build up your community to be a bunch of smart people and smart investors. So we want to essentially be the go-to place for all things crypto, NFTs, DeFi, farming, and more. So let me know if you guys do have more suggestions. Again, not everybody here is going to be the best trader in the world. So if you are the best Twitter person in the world, DM me, fill out that form. Let's get in touch. Let's see how we can continue to grow this brand. And I'm excited to see where we can go from here.
Great, yeah. And so, we're very excited to have him on board again. It's leveraging, like I mentioned, it's about leveraging as many people as you can to create, something that's the sum of its parts. And that's what ACYC is. We have around 20, 25 people working on the back end of this between design and marketing, and, everything going on, all sorts of development. Um, and it's really about utilizing the best brains in the space in every avenue. So we're really bullish on where things are at with the space. We're loving the stable action that we have. I love the ACYC chart. Looking at that daily, the 1 day chart is very exciting to us. And as we mentioned on the last space, we're finalizing some investments with investment funds, and that will be great. And we also, not to overlook it, we have the Alpha Pass coming. As we mentioned before, this is going to be a pass unlike anything that's available in the market that leverages data and resources from everywhere. And it's what we use as well to inform a lot of our trades. And so that will be available to holders. And it'll also serve as a way to directly invest in the ACYC treasury with a completely different profit distribution structure. So more details on that will be announced. I'll remain semi-tight-lipped about it, but just that's a little tidbit for you guys. It is both an alpha pass and a way to, get profits from the treasury and put fuel into the treasury at the same time. So very excited about that. Very excited to bring that to you guys. Very excited with where the space is. Our market cap to our treasury is just, it's only getting larger and larger. The treasury and the market cap hanging out where it is the best thing that it could be doing for us to be an extremely undervalued protocol with a very, very bullish case. So yeah, that's where I would say, ACYC is it's not a get rich quick thing. It's a retirement bag. It's you put money here and you can be sure in 6 months that this is going to be, assured gains. And we're going to be trading all the volatile degen assets that you could lose your money in along the way. So that's really what I have to say, Nate, if you want to have some close it up.
Yeah, I think this is a good spot to close it. Like you said, never been more bullish. Never have, yeah, originally did not consider that we would be at this exact point with, 20 to 25 people on our team, all, experts in their field. I always aim not to be the brightest person in the room. And at this point, I can confidently say that there's a handful of people that shine as bright, if not brighter than myself. So, it's always comfortable to be surrounded by so many people who are experts in their craft because, like you said, at the end of the day, we don't have the time or the expertise to learn other things, such as, I personally don't have the time to, be an expert Twitter, promoter or to build out a marketing team or to, lead these teams. I can give insight where needed, but, I really would feel most comfortable with somebody whose job is to do that, whose job in the past has been to do that, and who can execute it to a level that, I and other members of the core team could not. And so I'm glad and so excited that we found those people and we're still looking for even more of them. And that they're just as excited as we are to build this out. Because at the end of the day, like you said, 50 days old, absolutely insane. I think there are projects far bigger than us that have not had as much growth and development as we have in even their first year. And we're literally only like, 1/15 of the way through this year. So yeah, super excited. Our treasury to market cap ratio is growing exponentially. We haven't really taken any substantial losses at all. And that's one contributing factor to the traders, and as well as the farmers we have being experts as what they do. And so that's super exciting. Really, sky's the limit right now. And I like the way that these spaces are turning out on the weekly format. Maybe we'll move back to a couple a week. But I like the condensed amount of information that we're, giving out here on these weekly spaces. I feel like we've touched on so much in just literally about 30 minutes. So if you can't make it to any future spaces, or you want to like have a way to listen to these previous spaces where we've just been spewing out amazing updates and what we've been working on, our YouTube channel has all of these uploaded, and we'll upload these consistently in the future as well. So head on over there if there's any of the past ones you want to listen to, or if you can't make it to a future one and you want to hear what's going on in the ACYC development side.
Sweet, yeah, that's great. And I will just give an opportunity to anyone who does want to ask some questions. If you do, raise your hand. We could field just a couple questions here. Otherwise, we will wrap it up and, of course, be available in the Discord for anyone that does have questions later. So if you have some questions, feel free to raise a hand. We'll give it just a minute there. Sweet. Well, that makes it easy. That'll keep this space nice and short, easy to upload to YouTube. So keep your eye out to see it there if you missed it here. It'll also be available still on our Twitter page until that is the case. And until next week, everybody happy reflecting.